I'm going to start off in saying, do not be afraid of AI, okay? So my name is Carolina Rendeiro. I am the CEO of Connect to Global. I have been working for 47 years, 34 countries, 7 startups, and an incubator that had $24 million funded by IBM and AT&T. So I can truly say that I have succeeded and I have failed, and the failure was the best lesson I ever learned. So I'm here to just give you some talk about AI and how it actually helps now if you use it right. For example, when I have to do a program now, I just plop in there an idea, and all of a sudden that just starts coming out. What would have taken me a week or two to do, and with staff helping and everything, has reduced my time. And to me, and I think all of you should understand, that time is worth more than money, okay? Definitely worth much more than money, because you can't recoup time. You can always make more money, but you can't recoup the time you've lost. And I've learned that along the way in doing what I do, in speaking at conferences and working with startups, with small and medium, large companies. And I'm going to tell you a story which I think is super important for everybody that's in the room. I don't care if you're a CEO of a company, CFO, CMO, all the C words, okay? You have to look at your network. And after selling that business, I decided, all right, what am I going to do now? Because nobody will tolerate me at home for 24 hours a day. There's nobody. I don't even tolerate myself. So you have to understand, I took my network and said, okay, and mapped out a strategy that this is what I want to do. And of course, I talked to AI as well. Here's what I want to do. I want to work with companies that want to be connected to the decision maker in whatever country they want to go to that I'm familiar with. So I selected the United States because I was born there, and I've worked there for the 47 years of my life, of work life. Not, I wish I was 47. I would have so much to do right now. I would love it. But the fact is that network to me today is my client base. It's who I use for clients and who clients call me about and how I connect them. So I'm continuing to make money, but I have finally reached a phase in my life where I can say, all right, I don't want to work with that one. That didn't make me feel too good, okay? It took me a long time to get there because I used to have to work with everybody, okay? I worked in corporate America for only 6 years and knew then that I was not cut out for that. You know, I just can't be cooped up. I have to have freedom to think. My cooping is I have to be able to be creative. And that's what AI has done for me. So I'm not afraid of it. I'm still learning. I am in my 70s, so people, I want you to know. My daughter always says, so, this is not AI, okay? This is me, all right? I reach every year that I reach, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do now? So I took an AI course because I have to understand what I'm selling and how I sell it and how I work with it. If I don't understand it, I can't do it. And this is a good deal for your business, too, because if you understand your business and you know what your purpose is in that business, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to go out for this company now. Well, that company may not be a right fit for you. And how are you going to know if that company is a right fit? You have to research it. This is where a lot of the startups, I think, fail in the very beginning, is because they don't take the time to research. Why? Because AI is there for them. The research is done by AI. We just heard someone say that, you know, you can't trust it. Trust is a big deal. I can tell you, I spoke at Web Summit a few years ago, and to connect it back to the network, on that stage of Web Summit was remote. I had the stage for remote workers because of COVID. All of a sudden, remote was like the thing of the future. All right? Well, I had been in the workspace industry, shared workspaces, since 1979, okay? And in 1995 or 94, I had a call from Microsoft in Menlo Park, California, who said, we want to come to Houston. I was in Houston, Texas, and we want to take your floor to create a new software we're working on. We have to be in the center of the country. So Houston, when you talk about the United States, anybody that's doing research is going to be in Chicago or in Houston, because that's the place to be, in the center, and get a good mix of people. And we want them to come, we want them to work. They're going to be secluded. We don't want anybody going into our space and everything. And I said, have at it. It was Microsoft. And Microsoft came in and created in Houston, Texas, Sidewalk, which today is Google Maps. Okay? Fast forward to Web Summit, I'm on the stage and I'm introducing Bill Smith, the CEO of Microsoft, who, when I knew him, was the head of that department of Sidewalk. So that connection came back from 1996, and this happened 4 years ago. So the connections are there. The network is your strategic asset of your company. You have to nurture it. You have to work it. You can't leave it dormant. Okay? So when people ask me, what are the 3 things that you really tell young people, or even people that are now, a lot of us that are in their 50s and 60s still don't want to be laid back at home, what should I do? I said, well, what did you do before? And then they start listing everything they did, and I said, okay, on a wall now, what are the 3 things you like the most of the 20 you just said, okay? And the other ones that you can live without. And where are you going to make money? And where are you going to give back? Because it's very important in a company, especially a startup and a self-owned company, a woman-owned company even more so, that you believe in, you're making money, you're creating jobs, but you're also giving back, okay? Giving back to a community that you're in, be it through education, be it through mentorship, be it through being on boards of directors in the community. Community is where you build the trust. We just heard someone talk about trust. Trust is super important, because in the United States, any viable company is going to do business with people they know. It happens here. It happens all over. I worked in the Middle East, where it was very hard for them to even believe that I could do what I could do, but they're the ones that came looking for me, all right? And so as I said to them that time, I said, you came looking for me, okay? So obviously you believe I can do. So it's the trust factor. It's the factor of being believable in what you're saying and doing, all right? I believe in myself. I can tell you that when I first started out, I just thought I was like the queen, that nobody was smart. I don't know how the rest of the world lived until that moment I came into the workforce. Well, there was a rude awakening. That's the first company that failed, okay? And that's how you learn your lessons. You don't, everybody's here beforehand, and I totally love to mentor. I totally love to talk to companies that are struggling and saying, what am I doing wrong? Because you have to step back and look and get somebody from the outside to look into your company and say, I would probably do this differently. And you have to surround yourselves, anybody that's in this room, with people that don't think like you. You can have a couple that think like you, but you can't have your entire staff having the same mentality or the same ideas or the same philosophies that you have, because at some point they're not going to mesh, all right? It doesn't mesh. If it doesn't mesh, it doesn't succeed. Or if you start losing staff, because some of them will be more creative. So in essence, to me, what has happened with AI, it has forced me to learn something else, which I thought I wasn't capable of learning anymore, but I retained it and I enjoyed it. I also have 3 granddaughters in their 20s that, I cheat with them. I was like, how do I do this? Can you do this for me? Because they were making slides for me and everything. And they're like, Mama, you can do this yourself. And I'm like, how? And then they're the ones that got me in the AI course. So that being said, you have to look at AI as pushing you. AI is that invisible person that's behind you when you plop something into AI and you start thinking, your creativity comes out. And it's a person you don't even have to deal with, you don't have to pay them, okay? They're there for you. And what I love the most about AI is that they say, wow, you came up with that idea, splendid. They're patting you on the back. So who else is going to tell you you're great if it's not yourself, right? That's what I love about AI, is I plug something in there. Oh, this is a great topic, this is exactly what you need to do. And I love this because I work by myself. I work in my home. I'm zoomed out most of the time, so right? Teams is something else that I really don't enjoy Teams as much. Microsoft hates me, but the Zoom works better for me. But it's being able to convey that message across the screen, to being able to convey that message in a coffee shop when you're talking to somebody. It's putting yourself in that person's position. And if there's anything I want to leave you people with is the following. Listen. Hear what is being said, not what you want to hear. Okay? Because a lot of people listen and they say, yeah, mm-hmm. I used to do this. I used to irritate my family because we would ask for directions. And the person would give me an answer and go, And then somebody would say, well, what did they say? I said, I don't know. I wasn't listening. But if you start telling me, you got to go north on this road and then south on this one, no. Me, it's like, you got to turn right at some big building or a store or whatever. Then I know how to get places. So in all honesty, get back, stay firm to yourself, definitely, okay? Grow your business. Don't be afraid to grow. Don't be afraid of AI. Definitely don't be afraid of AI. I started working when I was on a manual typewriter, okay? A Rapicon machine to send faxes and everything else, a Twix, a telex, a plug board to answer phones. This is in the United States, all right? So when I think about that, I'm like, wow, I have gone through decades. I have seen Houston, Texas grow from cows and horses to the city it is today. I saw Miami when I went there 24 years ago. To see Miami grow from being another extension of Latin America and not developed, but today it is what it is today. So I consider myself fortunate. I consider myself rich in knowing and having met people and continuing to meet more people. I'm not afraid to meet people. And I think you shouldn't be afraid either, because meeting people, opening your horizons, will bring you success. It always does. Thank you for your time. This has been fun.